So, hello my friends. This is a video about a court case that I had. I wrote a 1-paragraph letter to my clerk of courts, and I wrote a 2-sentence letter to my magistrate. I was summoned to court on... Here, let's just start like this. They sent this to me. A court summons. I responded, I put an X through it, and I wrote no contract. I was summoned to court for... What was it? I'll explain exactly what it was. Okay. Okay, this is exactly. I was being summoned. First of all, it says, to my name and all occupants, I wish you leave the following described premises now in your occupation, situated in the city of Columbus, in my county. So basically, they're saying that on the grounds of criminal activity and or interfering with fair housing rights. So this is my compliance. They're saying that I violated some fair housing rights policy and or how did they say it? Was involved in some kind of criminal activity. So basically what I wrote to them, they gave me this piece of paper summoning me to court. This is the way that I did it, because I didn't do this by myself. There's no way I would. Through the help of many other people, through Warrior Calls, Christopher James, people like these men, they helped me, okay? And I had to listen to one of his interviews for a week straight, and I just kept listening to it, and I got the script down, and I wrote this to my clerk of courts. And let me show you. Let me show you the stamp real quick. You see the stamp from the court? That's the official stamp right there. March 14th. Right here. I'm going to black this out. I'm going to make a better video. This is just a practice, but let me tell you how I wrote. First of all, I sent that to her. I went to my clerk of courts and I registered this through the clerk of courts. I said, "Greetings, Lori M. Tyak, acting honorably as clerk of courts." I said, "I, Marian, the living man, received on 7 March 22 a communication. There is a presumption here under this communication, and I, Marian, the living man, have to correct the record. There is a belief that there is a contract in place that I, Marian, the living man, am bound to the Service Corporation of such and such company to some codes, rules, statutes, or regulations claiming interference with fair housing rights and or engaged in criminal activity. I require you to produce the contract that you rely upon, and whoever claims I, Marian, the living man, am their property or caused wrong or harm. I, Marian, the living man, am returning this offer to contract with you and respectfully decline. For the record, in order for my appearance, I, Marian the living man, charge my fee of $25,000 to address any fraud that is brought before any court against me. My fee is $25,000 an appearance per appearance, not including my dollar per second for time I, Marian the living man, have spent outside the court writing and addressing all of this. Signed, Marian the living man from the DeSantillo family." And I put my 3 thumbprints right there. Okay? So, the new fee is going to be $1 million. I'm not charging the $25,000 anymore. If anyone wants to try to present fraud against me in a court, I will make them look dumb. Okay? How did I say this? See, I have lots of help doing this. It took me a week to write this, and it was very hard. I had to listen and observe, and I had to hear I listened to someone else's experience, and I was able to apply it myself. So I said, I require you to produce the contract you rely upon, and whoever claims that I, Marian the living man, am their property or cause wrong or harm. So basically, if there was a trespass, I want to see my accuser, and I require you to bring that contract. So either whoever's accusing me and whatever contract you're claiming that I am in violation of, bring it, and I require you to produce that contract. I said, I, Marian the living man, am returning this offer to contract with you, the clerk of courts, because when you go to when you go to court and you be represented, when you sign in as the defendant or the plaintiff, then you're playing by their rules. It's the rules of civil procedure, and therefore the legal society. It doesn't apply to man or woman. It applies to the legal society, to bar members, and that's why it's a dog and pony show, or what's it called? The dog and pony show. You go to the court. Yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. They wear their little robes and everyone's intimidated. No, I'm not a part of that. I am a living man, and I told them. So we'll get to that part. So basically, yeah. So my fee now is $1 million because this. If you want, so like I said, for the record, in order for my appearance, I, Marian the living man, charge my fee of $25,000 to address any fraud that is brought before any court against me. That's the way I addressed them. I said my fee is $25,000 an appearance per appearance, not including my dollar per second for time I, Marian the living man, has spent outside the court writing and addressing all this. This is the copy. The originals are right here. I wrote to, there's my magistrate, there's my clerk of courts. Yeah, I wrote it in red pen and I thumbprint. I was shaken by the time I was writing this. There was so much power in my pen while I was writing this. It was so hard for me to do it. It was unbelievable. And I knew that these words were foolproof. And listen, if I committed a crime and there's a victim, then this would never work in a court of law. This is talking about, a crime. There actually has to be a victim. So basically, long story short, here's the one that got registered through the courts. Here's my stamp right here. And then the same thing. So, all right. So I gave that early, before I had my summons. So I turned this into the clerk of courts 3 days before my actual court date, before my summons date. Then the day of my summons, I had my handwritten letter, and I was trying to hand it to the magistrate, and she looked at me like I was crazy. She was wearing a mask. They had glass put up. They looked at me like I was an alien or something. I was like, hello, I need to give you this piece of paper. She's like, no, you can't give that to me. And I was like, what are you talking about? I have to give this to you before I see the judge. And she's like, no. I was like, all right, I'll be right back. I went downstairs through the clerk of courts, and then I filed this. And this is the letter I wrote to the magistrate because I was summoned to court. So I wrote, greetings, Daniel Sparks, acting honorably as magistrate in courtroom such and such. I, man, Marian Di Santillo, am a living man here making a special appearance this day of blank blank 2022. Because the agents and officers from the Service Corporation of such and such company have not produced the obligation and have not produced a verified claim. I, Marian, the living man, require that contract to be produced and the man or woman claiming trespass. I wrote the date. I, Marian, the living man from the Di Santillo family. Boom. There's my handwritten one, okay? I registered that through the clerk of courts. You see my stamp? Boom. So as soon as I did that, I had to go downstairs, put some more money in the meter. Then I registered this damn thing into the clerk of courts. I came back upstairs, and this guy comes up to me, and he's like, what do you want to do? We're going to make this disappear. It's not going to be on your record anymore. What do you want to... The ball was in my court now. And like an idiot, I signed some piece of paper, but it still got... it's not dismissed. It doesn't exist anymore. But on the paper, it was basically saying that I couldn't retaliate and that I was agreeing to leave because they were trying to evict me. Long story short, I had a garden that I was working on for 5 years, my aunt's garden. She passed away, I took over, and I'm still continuing on this garden. And they were coming to spray, and I made a big deal about it. I said, hey, you cannot spray my garden. This is living soil. the guy was like, "Oh no, you can't have a garden, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Dude, don't you remember the conversation we had when I moved in? Oh, how beautiful the garden is. We love your aunt, blah 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 blah." And then they flipped the script on me. So that's why I went ahead and I did this, right? So basically, it was agreeing that I couldn't countersue or anything, or and agreed to leave the premises. But like, he wanted me to sign this paperwork and it says defendant, plaintiff, case number. I was like, listen, man, I am not a defendant. I'm not gonna sign that. And he like crossed it out and he wrote man. You can see right here. He crossed it out right there and he wrote man. And like, I told him, I said, listen, when the fraud that is presented to the public about this court, you guys are all in trouble. And they just looked at me like I was insane because, you know, they memorized their script, the barratry program, or the British accredited registry. They have their own legal language, legalese. It only applies to the Society of Bar members, to the to the society. The rules of civil procedure, they don't apply to a man or a woman. That's why they always try to put your name in capital letters, and they'll put a big number, all caps numbers and all caps letters and numbers next to your name. They never address you as a man or a woman. So here, I wrote this next letter to my magistrate. No problem. Got resolved. And now it doesn't exist. When you put it in it's not there anymore. So we are living in a legal fiction. It's all based on fraud. When we separated from the Queen of England or whatever, we declared our independence, even though I don't know what's going on. That's all a pony show too. And long live King Jesus. You know what I mean? Away with her, and now we got a real king ruling on heaven, or ruling on earth. So I don't care about her. And like I'm saying, the rules of civil procedure don't apply to man. The British accredited registry, the bar, that's pirate. They're what are they doing? They're damn it, what's it called? They are doing piracy. Like, it's piracy when they go in there and they steal your property, and they get you to agree to some stupid stuff, and they charge you for this, and they click like anything. Like, all these different, you guys are allowing and giving them authority to represent you in their court system, so that way they can do whatever they want, because it's all based on fraud. They have violated the Constitution. They're all treasonous. Not all of them. There are good court judges, the ones that do their jobs right, the ones that actually uphold the Constitution, the ones that remember their oath, the ones that help protect our property and help protect our God-given, the ones that are there to enforce these laws that were given to us by God, the good judges, the good law enforcement, the good members of government. I applaud you, and I salute you, and I love you, and God bless you, and thank you for holding this foundation in America, because this information is so powerful, and everyone needs to know it. So, like I said, this is how I got out of the fraud that was being presented against me, and now I gotta figure out how to write this for the community guidelines of YouTube, because they're saying that I violated some guidelines. Well, I'm not in contract with them, and according to so there's a belief that there's a contract in place that I, Marion the Living Man, am bound to the Service Corporation of YouTube, to some codes, rules, statutes, or regulations claiming interference with community guidelines. I require you to produce that contract you rely upon. Yeah, I got this going, so I'm going to figure out how to sue YouTube and get my property back, because they keep stealing my property. I'm putting out priceless content, the most informational, good information, you know what I mean? And these people have their own language there too. Like, if you don't speak their language, then they'll violate you for some community guideline. Well, guess what? All these fraud is going to be presented, and when it is, you're going to look stupid. So, I'll tell you that right now. Let me see what this video is about. Yeah, thank you, my father, for helping me get out of that system. Help me to be sovereign, to be a man, to claim I, man, Marian, the living man from the DeSantillo family, am not a part of your society. Your rules of civil procedure do not apply to me. I am here presenting myself. I am a living man. That's what I told them. The dude that was like their little middleman that came to talk to me was like, I'm a living man, dude. Yeah, I don't need any representation. I am very present at the moment. I'm here, you know. But it's crazy when you're sitting in front of the judge. It's a little more intimidating. This was outside the court. I tried to talk to her. She was like, mask, glass, looking at me like I'm an alien. So, but yeah, that's what it is. Okay, I'm not a part of your society. I am a living man. Go screw yourselves. All right. God bless America. God bless the Constitution. God bless proper law enforcement. God bless the people who fulfill their obligations, who still have kept their oath. That's who I salute. I love you guys. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.